Okay. Welcome to the Cold Hard Facts Podcast. I am D.N.A, the only one, the one and only, of course, back again once again. And I have a very special guest today, Galaxy Francis.
Blessings. Appreciate you, bro.
You're a very, very talented person, bro.
Appreciate it.
I gotta give you your props first,
Love.
but I got a whole bunch of questions. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
I checked out a multiple projects. Well, really 3.
Okay.
I'll tell you which ones as we go along and shit. But yeah, like your style is like different because you pretty much everywhere. It seems like you trying to touch every base of music.
Yeah.
And it seems like you never get too comfortable in one space.
I kind of just get bored.
Okay.
I'd be like, it's not that I get bored, but when I go into making something, like when I got an idea, like it has a lot of intention.
Right.
And once that intention has, met its course and like the idea is actualized, I'm like, all right, cool. I want to move on to the next idea, the next intention. And I listen to so much music. I was raised around so much different music, so right. I want to make something my grandma be proud of. I want to make something my homies want to listen to on a day-to-day basis. I want to make something that sound good in the club when I perform. So, these are all things I'm thinking about.
For sure, yeah. And you got a lot of songs that you could perform and like people just ride to. You feel me? Not nothing too crazy and shit. So I want to get to the beginning. Where did you get your start in wanting to create music?
And like music in general,
yeah.
I feel like I always just like had a natural love for it. Like I just loved words. So in school, I felt like I naturally gravitated towards like English class because we would like write poetry, we write short stories. So that was my first place of creation, like when it came to writing. Right. I would write poetry, and one of my poems was published when I was like 12 years old or something like that. Like the book, the school put something together. It's like you could enter into the contest, the best poems are gonna get put in this book. I wish I had the book. I don't have the book, so I was probably around like 10, 11 maybe.
Okay.
And then once I always loved rap. Like I always was just kind of a fan of, not kind of, but my dad would always play Snoop, like West Coast rap. Mm-hmm. A lot of his friends would play different stuff from the city too. A lot of R&B, for sure. So like 90s R&B. You hear that in my music. You hear it in the way that I perform.
For sure.
And then, the typical, like, after that, after the interest is peaked, you got the typical, like, man, I got a computer that I worked off of that I just made work. I had my grandmama computer. I found a way to put Fruity Loops on there. Like, one of my homies sent me Fruity Loops, like a Windows 10 computer. Right. Figuring out how to do it on YouTube early days and Yahoo Messenger, just messaging people like, hey, how you get your drums to sound like that? You know what I'm saying? Right. And then, they could send me shit and we just talk all day and figure stuff out. So that was like the way that I started actually creating, turning from just like writing on page to recording. I feel like the first time I recorded was into one of those like little conference microphones that you get with the computer or some shit.
Right.
And a lot of it was self-taught too. So I feel like something that I leave out is like I wasn't really like forced to do music. I was a kid that would always like bang on the desk in like school and shit. So one of my teachers was like, when it's time for band tryouts, you need to try to play the drums. And so I did. Right. I ended up playing the saxophone instead because it just felt like more of my thing. And my auntie gave me a saxophone. Right. So self-taught. Outside of that, like I did that for maybe like a year or 2 years. I didn't really stick with that for real. Right. I was more of into sports, basketball, baseball around that age. And then I didn't make the freshman team. I'm sorry, I didn't make the JV team my second year of high school. Right. So I had a lot more time during the winter years. And my friends were really into footwork and juke, so I ended up like making a lot of juke tracks. That's kind of like how I started to learn how to use Fruity Loops for real. My other homies, like, I was starting to like meet people that were into rapping, and so like maybe my junior year, I really started to meet people that like to rap a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started recording together, making stuff, you know, whether they went to a different high school. I ended up transferring high schools, and that definitely put me closer to people. I ended up being in a group called Breakfast Club that grew into this group called the 2080s. And then that was like where, you know, I started going to open mics, started just like, you know, rapping, honing my skills, iron sharpens iron, with people.
Right.
Ended up going to UIC once I graduated high school. I graduated from Thornwood out in South Highland.
Okay.
So once I graduated from there and went to UIC, whole different like open mic scene, just blew my mind. So like I was mostly into Lupe when I was just like doing my own self study. I had an uncle that the first time I sold beats, he was with me. I made like $500, and the first thing he was like, "We going to Barnes and Noble or Borders." It was Borders at the time. He was like, "We going to Borders tomorrow, and you gonna buy all these books about the music industry." And on that car ride, he taught me how to count bars. He taught me how to what else? He just taught me about song structure, like, cause he knew I was rapping. He knew I was like good. He was just like, "Man, do you know how to count bars?" And I was like, "Nah, not really. Like, what's that? You for real?" And so he just turned on the radio and was like, started counting to like a 50 Cent song or some shit. I want to say it was PIMP, and he just like 1, 2, 3, 1. Taught me how to like count to the clap and kick and shit. So that was transformative. And like I said, I was meeting a lot of people as I'm going through high school that did rapping. The first time that I ever smoked a blunt was at my homie's crib when we was recording. He was an engineer, and he would record me and these other homies. This group called Black Money Mafia, and it was two dudes in that group. All three of them taught me how to rap, but it was two specifically that taught me how to like format my raps. My homie Beat Up and my homie Shine. Both of them, like these are all moments that like just changed the way I created. You know what I'm saying? And, like how I got into the way that I still do it now. And so he was typing on a computer, and I would always write either like on paper, or my dad had like, he used to work at a phone store. We had friends that worked at phone stores, so we would just have like these old little like sliding phones, and like I wouldn't have service on it, but I would just like write my raps in there. It had like Microsoft Word or some shit on there.
Right.
So that's how I was writing at first, and he pulled up his shit one day, and he had it structured like by 2 bars. So his rhyme schemes were like 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, until he got to 16. And so he started to tell me like just a way to set up your punchline. So, you know, 1 line, 2, 3, fourth line, punchline, 5, 6, punchline, you know, like rhyme scheme, how to switch all that shit up. So that was really, it was my community that taught me how to rap just off of my interest, and I was always eager to learn. I'm in the studio like, "What you doing? Like, how the fuck did you come up? You said what? How did you do that effect?" Like all at the same time. Like I'm asking the engineer how he's doing shit. I'm like, "Bro, I want my shit to sound like really big. I want it to sound like it echoes," and they're teaching me all the terms. And I'm like 15, 16 at this time. So I damn near got a really early start for real.
For sure.
And to go back to, like I said, in college, the open mic scene, I ended up getting my own mic, my own interface. I still have that interface to this day, the interface that I had from college. And I started recording myself, my homies. So then I started to get into my own recording techniques. I'm starting to structure songs. I'm becoming a producer. Maybe not with like making the beats so much, but like helping people put songs together,
Right.
like with hooks, with verses.
That's a producer.
You know what I'm saying? That is a producer. And you know, that's the first place I started learning to mix. Nobody was mixing my stuff for me. Nobody was making beats that I really liked. Like once you say you rap a certain kind of way, people send you a certain kind of beat.
For sure.
But like you said, like I'm somebody that tries to touch on so many things. Even back then, I was bored. Like I could rap my ass off. I could rap 32 like it's nothing. But are people gonna stick around for the song? Like is the album conceptual? Like I said, I was listening to Lupe, so the cool was how I thought an album should be made. Food and Liquor was how I thought an album should be made. Doggy Style, fucking The Chronic. Like this is my blueprint for like how music should sound. And obviously, the older I got, more artists: Kendrick, Travis Scott, a bunch of different people.
For sure, yeah. I like that. I like that. Cause yeah, you definitely a album guy. I could tell. Like, so we gotta talk about Metal Gear first.
Please, let's start there.
So you a Metal Gear Solid fan, or is it
You know
just
what's
like?
funny, bro? What was you gonna say?
Is it just like, fuck it, and just like said, I heard of Metal Gear, I see Metal Gear, and I'm gonna attach it to my name.
It's so Metal Gear Solid is the first PlayStation game that I ever remember having and playing. I still have the PlayStation. I still have the same Metal Gear Solid. So I did a gallery. Oh, hold on, that's my homie Elton calling.
Alright, so we was talking about the title.
Oh yeah, Metal Gear Solid. So yeah, like I was saying, that's the original. I still have it. First game I ever played on PlayStation. First video game I remember having. It was like this really cool double disc. It was a blue disc with like Solid Snake's face. It was just all like blue. Like my hair is for Metal Gear Solid, and that was an accident. I didn't even put that together until like afterwards.
Right.
But I had did a gallery at Studio Shapes where I had like an installation, like I had all the outfits up. I had like a room in the back where you could sequence the album yourself and just like mix the stems together and kind of recreate the song your own way.
Right.
Had the videos playing, and then I had a station where you could play Metal Gear Solid. And
Right.
like it had like the original PlayStation that I got in there.
Right.
So it has that personal kind of like attachment to me, but the name came out of just like me being silly. I'm always doing like name flips and shit, whether it's my name, whether it's some of the homies. And at the time, I was doing a lot of music that had auto tune. So auto tune to me just kind of like sounds metallic.
For
and
sure.
So I was like, I did a project Intergalactic, and
We're gonna talk about that too.
okay, so yeah, so like right after Intergalactic, I had a CD that I put out, and it had like 3 songs that ended up being on Metal Gear Francis. But those 3 songs were like my new mode of like, all right, cool, I'm finna try like, how can I make auto tune sound beautiful? And like, cause I'm a big fan of Uzi, I'm a big fan of Travis Scott, I'm a big fan of Mike Dean's production, like Cardi. Like I love a lot of that music, and like Baby Keem, just like that high energy kind of music. That's fun to perform. So I titled a playlist of like 2 or 3 songs Metal Gear Francis, just off of the name type shit.
Right.
And
Okay. So
apologies, last interruption.
Yeah. No, you good.
No, you good. You good, bro. So yeah, I titled that playlist Metal Gear Francis. And I only had like 2 or 3 songs, and I just kept making songs. I was just kind of going through something emotionally at the time, so I kept making songs and like testing my voice out in different ways. It was around the time of like 2023, so like 2023 summer into fall, into like November, December. I was probably like making all of those records: Hyperspace, Chemical Reaction. And it just like grew into something bigger. I had made Kuwait during that time,
Right.
the original version of Kuwait, and
Right.
I was when I made the beat. I didn't make the beat. I produced it with my homie Nate. His name is my friend Nate. He's a producer. He works with Sonny a lot. Super talented.
Right.
We were in there, and he was chopping the sample that you hear in there, and I was trying to tell him how to do the drums. I was like, bro, do something that Valet would slide over. And like,
Right.
I was just trying to get the idea out. I wasn't thinking like to put Valet on it in that moment.
Right.
But he sent me the sample and was like, hey, give a shot at the drums. And I did it, and it's the drums that you hear. And so I recorded the song. Like, I instantly knew the song, like the hook and all that, like, just came to me while we was making the beat. I'm like, all right, cool, got it. Finish it, put an open on there, and I'm telling everybody that I know, hey, you know Valet? Yeah, you know how I can get a feature from him? Like, see if you know his people. See, I just want to get a price on it or something, just to get a conversation going. And so I asked about 3 or 4 people, and somehow we get in contact with Andrew Barber, who works with him primarily, I believe, and that's how it ended up happening. And once I got that feature, I was in goddamn Mariano's. I damn near cried. I was in the Mariano's on in Bridgeport on like 31st and Ashland. I was in there, and I'm just damn near screaming. People looking at me like I got a verse from Valet. You don't know what this means. Valet is one of my favorite rappers. You know, like
sure.
when I say like I love Lupe, like I love Valet the same way for real.
For sure.
So I got that, and that's what made Metal Gear Francis serious. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this album serious and like really structure it and really make a story out of it. And man, just that's how Metal Gear Francis became a thing. It wasn't super thought out. It was just ideas that came together for real.
For sure. Okay. Quick dip away.
Mm.
Why did you name yourself Galaxy Francis?
That's real. I believe how you do anything is how you do everything, and everything starts with intention. Right. So when I decided to name myself, I was like, if I was my own parent, what would I name my child? You know, what would I name myself? And I would always make that name intentional. And so I love space. Like you heard it, like you hear it at my shows. So I'll be like, I like space, and that's the foundation of it. It's like, what is naturally me? And so what that means to me is you hear phrases like there's a universe inside of you. And I feel like I'm a person that does so many different things. I produce, I rap, I sing, engineer, goddamn draw sometimes, play basketball. I like fashion and shit, you know, like that. I don't really have any bounds. And so I kind of feel like I'm a galaxy. There's a bunch of worlds. There's a bunch of shit that exists inside of me. And for a long time, I felt a lot of guilt and shame for like trying to be one thing. You know how they say like, if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none or whatever. Right. And so I kind of like attach guilt and shame to that. And so naming myself First Galaxy was like me accepting all of who I am. Right. And then Francis has interpretations or translations from French, I believe, to like free man. The English translation has some translations to free man. So my name to me represents like, man, there's freedom in accepting all that I am. Right. So that's literally why I named myself. But I Googled shit. I was like, man, is anybody else named Galaxy Francis? I wrote so many names down. At first it, you know, kind of started as like, what sounds cool? And Galaxy Francis was like in the top 5. It was like some other shit like Francis Fiasco, Francis Moon or some shit. I don't know, like a bunch of different shit. Sir Galaxy Francis. And then Galaxy Francis was like the one that I was like, man, but this one like means something. And then I Googled it, and like there was no other Galaxy Francis. I was like, this means something. That's a sign. Like I am Galaxy Francis. There is no other lane. There is no other Galaxy Francis. Like I can claim all of that, and that's important. I think when you're branding as an artist too. Right. Make sure you're not competing with other shit when you Google, when you look up shit on Spotify. Like if your name is goddamn John Jackson, and I look it up on Spotify, you know how many John Jacksons I'm probably gonna find? Right. If I Google John Jackson, how much is going? Drake, I don't know how the fuck Drake got away with Drake. Okay? Drake is such a common, I feel like, name. It's a damn university. Right. Pitbull is Pitbull, and he comes up first before the dog. Right. So that was important to me too. Branding was super important.
For sure. For sure. You definitely thought outside the box.
For sure.
Because Galaxy Francis is super out of there, like, as far as, like, yeah, who's gonna name that? Because Francis is not, first of all, the Francis part, that's my grandmother's name. So, like, that, like, instantly, I'm like, okay, what is this finna sound like? The Galaxy part, it was just like, okay, it could be, you out of this world as far, and that's, you all over the place. Yeah. So, like, as far as talent. Yeah. You feel me? So, you definitely don't put yourself in a box. So, I don't really know what song I want to talk about first, but let's go figure it out.
Figure it out. Oh. All right. Ask away.
Yeah.
Ask away.
Yeah.
I love that. I wasn't expecting that.
How did you come up with the concept of talking, making that?
Man, so that beat was made by my homie Lil, and he's from Chicago, moved to Atlanta. When he moved to Atlanta, we were kind of working remotely. I would go down to Atlanta and visit him every once in a while, and he sends me a pack at some point, and that track was in there, and I instantly just kind of like found myself drawn to it. It's one of those beats that just you feel, and you just start to get words. And I want to say sometimes my songs I piece them together sporadically. So I might be listening to the beat while I'm cleaning, while I'm in the shower, while I'm driving or something, and I might get 2 lines here, I might get 2 lines there. But once I got something that sticks, I start to get in front of the mic or I grab my phone and start writing what I don't want to forget. And that song just came together with like that first line. What the fuck is that goddamn first line? I'm thinking about the second verse because that's one of my favorite verses. But it's crazy I can't remember my own lyrics. Hold on, let me look this up. It's in my phone.
Right. I get
No,
that.
I do know every day is a clone of Taylor Bennett's brother. It's another chance.
Yeah.
Like I just be like silly with shit sometimes. Like with I got a Charlie horse. Oh, oh no, oh. We just hooped earlier.
Yeah.
We definitely hooped earlier. I need to elevate this motherfucker while I'm playing. Let me just chill. Hey, we live a full life over here.
Yeah.
We live a full life. Praise God. But yeah, that song just came from trying to figure some shit. Literally, figuring that verse out, figuring out like it really came line after line, and it was one of those times I was writing and I just really wanted to tap in with who I was, and I even said that in the first verse. And now I want to see the verse because I've always wanted to do interviews. Somebody like, what did you mean by this?
Right. So Dan, this is your first interview? Like,
It's not my first interview, but people don't ask me too much about songs, like specifically. Okay. They talk about, kind of what we talked about earlier, like, how did it start? How do you get into music? Right. What's this concept about? Right. Talking about actual songs, especially a song
I try not to bore you. No,
for real.
Like, I study interviews. Woo. So.
Yeah. My favorite scheme in that, like, let's go through the verse. Like, right. It's another chance to do my dance and fill my pants with these blue faces like the grossest is trying to make my family proud. Down a penny, started acting out. Folks deserve an Oscar. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going through a penny proud scheme or like a proud family scheme right there. And I use that a lot to guide me through my verses is just techniques. And I love battle rap. So I love Charlie Clips. Love O Solo. I love, Khan, Hitman Holla, Ave, Chess. So, I bring all that to when I write. Sure. And that's how it comes out. Puff and Green, hope the Irish Spring reach my memories and get a chance to wash them. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. And I let the flow guide me, and like I said, I was just tapping in to myself, and it was a moment where I just wanted to make more sincere music, because like I said, I like a lot of fun music too. I like to make stuff that I can dance to, that I can just like turn up to, that I can really sing my heart out to, and then I make stuff that somebody hears and something about it changes the way they look at life or a certain situation. And I was going through a lot at this time, just like between 2020 and 2022, like COVID, basically.
Right.
A lot was happening, and I just felt like, I was really trying to figure it out. And even in the second verse, I start talking about like shame for not having it figured out. Like, man, I've been making beats for this long. Like, how am I not Dilla? And my homies is doing X, Y, and Z. Why am I not Dylan? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like figuring out just what I'm trying to say, how I'm trying to say it, and writing is therapy for me sometimes.
For sure.
And this was one of the first times I feel like I tried different vocal techniques. Like with the hook, you kind of hear me crying almost in certain parts or stuttering. Like that was intentional to kind of intensify just how it feels when you going through something. When you feel something, you don't always say it properly. You stutter through it, and Kendrick does that. A lot of different artists, I feel like, add these stage play kind of theatrics and techniques to their verses. And Figure It Out was one of those moments. So that actually came way before I actually did Metal Gear.
Okay.
And it was on the deluxe because I felt like it was one of those songs that kind of rounded out what I was trying to say on Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Um, and it just fit, and I felt like that song needed to come out.
Mm-hmm.
People that heard it was like, you shouldn't be sitting on this song, and I agreed. Glad
Yeah.
they did. Shout out to them.
For sure. Shout out to them. Yeah, I am. Talk about that one.
Man, I'm so glad you asked me about Yeah I Am. That one, man, bro. So it's what, June 7th, almost exactly a year ago, a year and 2 weeks ago, I went to Canada, I went to Vancouver to work on this Lionsgate film called Fate that's going to come out next year. I was part of the second unit production. It's my first time ever working on the film. I got that gig from Metal Gear Francis, from all the 10 videos that I did. I met a filmmaker from Detroit. His name is Greg. And he saw my videos and asked me if I had a passport. And was like, yo, you're getting on a flight in 3 days. This was like May 2nd. I left on May 5th. The day that I left, Meet the Grams dropped. Before I went to bed for my flight, Meet the Grams dropped.
Mm.
I land in Vancouver, Not Like Us drops. so I'm just giving y'all the preface of how Yeah I Am you know what I'm saying, like the experience. So I get to Vancouver. We take a ferry to Victoria Island. I get in my hotel. For the next 10 days, I'm on set 14 hours a day. I'm on set at where they shot the X-Men, the castle, the school for the gifted. We shot in that same place. So I'm there every day. This is fat ass hill on the back of it. Got me up there. My legs were strong as hell. I lost like 15 pounds and got a tan in 60-degree weather. Makes no sense.
Right.
So, I'm there for like 10 days straight and working 12, 14-hour days. Maybe on like day 6, I'm going back to the truck and I get a phone call from my mama. And my mama's like, I don't know if it was a phone call or a text, but my mama's like, Grandma's not doing too good. And I'm like, type shit. And I'm working, so I'm just like, type shit. Maybe a day later, Grandma passed, type shit. So, and I'm in the middle of set.
God bless.
And luckily, I had a lot of support. The people that I was there with, like, saw what was going on and was like, hey, man, I'm going to pray for you. We prayed. And then it was like, go take however much time you need and just, like, go do what you need to do. Come back when you're ready. And the next day, we go to a different location, like in downtown Victoria. And we're in a hotel, and they're shooting this scene. And the crazy thing, too, about this movie, I have the song The Shining, right? And I have this hoodie that has The Shining. The first day I meet the director, on May 5th, I'm wearing The Shining hoodie. And he asked me, he was like, did you wear this on purpose? I was like, nah. I mean, yeah, because I put it on. Like, yeah, I wore it on purpose. But, like, nah, not like to be here type shit. And then he was like, did you read the script? And I'm like, I fucked up at this moment. I was like, no. You're supposed to read the script if you're working on a movie, right?
Right.
So he's like, I'm going to send you the script tonight. It's a 100-page script. You got till tomorrow to read it. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this movie is inspired by The Shining.
Right.
And I'm like, what are the fucking odds that I'm working on a movie inspired by the movie that inspired one of my songs? And I ended up reading about 60 pages of that script that night. I tried to keep my word, but he didn't really trip for real after that. And so yeah, fast forward back to the hotel. I'm sitting there, and we're doing like that scene that feels like one of the Shining movie scenes. And I'm on the couch, and my homie Swade sends me a beat. Sounds nothing. The drums are the same from the original beat he sent me, but the original beat sounds like something Future would have rapped on, like just like the synths and the melodies and everything. So I write the verse. Yeah, I am. And I needed that for myself because my grandmother just passed and I'm 4,000 miles away. And I don't know if I'm about to be able to go back for the funeral. I ended up being able to, but like at that moment, man, I had no idea. So I'm going through so many emotions on set, like just holding back tears trying to do my job. And I'm sitting literally on set. They gonna be mad at me for saying this because you're not supposed to be doing this on set. But I'm sitting there. We didn't have really much to do. I was second unit production. Once we got done, I could just kind of chill for the most part. I'm over there writing to that beat. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. And like everything that I was saying was like something that I needed to hear, something that I needed to talk about myself. We get off that night. That was a 16-hour day. We end up going into overtime. They're like, y'all got the next 2 days off. Next day I sleep till like 2 p.m. Wake up in my hotel, smoke a fat ass J on the balcony, go back in, and I record the song. And then I remake the beat with the Isaac Hayes sample that's on there now. The doo 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 doo. Nah, I'm lying. You know what I'm talking about, but I just did the cartel run instead. But it was an Isaac Hayes sample, and I kind of rebuilt the beat around that. Did all those vocals in Vancouver. Was it Vancouver? Yeah, we were back in Vancouver at that hotel. Yeah, did all those vocals. Like I had my Shure mic with me. I wasn't gonna leave the States without my fucking mic. I wasn't gonna go and be like, yeah, I'm gonna record a song in Canada. Like I got to. So did all that in my hotel room. Damn near mixed it that same day too. And yeah, that's how that happened. The I Still Think About You part was ironically or just like oddly, that line came to me when I got to my new hotel room. And I was just like, it was something in there that reminded me of somebody. And that line just came to me. I still think about you sometimes. I was like, this is hot. I need somewhere to put it. And then like the Yeah I Am, beat came and structure and it ended up fitting together.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, that is my favorite song off that project.
For real?
Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, man, just to even double down on what I'm saying about like being on set. Everything I said in the first verse was like 100% true. Oh, my life is a film. I'm on the set right now. Yeah, I am. Like everything I said in that first verse was true to that moment, and it was also like double entendre to like, yeah, my life's a movie. Like this type of shit happens. There's tragedy and then there's triumph.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of Audi Experience with Josh K.
Yeah.
Talk about that one.
Man. So that song, it was one of those songs when I was like experimenting with my voice. So I think I made that probably like a week after I made Hyperspace. And I made that beat first. As soon as I made that beat, I was like, this gotta be one of the hottest songs I ever make. And I was just riding around to the beat like, man, this shit is so raw. And went to the studio. We had just moved from our old location, Studio Shapes. We moved from Albany Park in September. We had just got the keys the first week of October. So there's like nothing in the studio other than the desk and like maybe 2 panels on the wall, the speakers, and I just dragged the mic in there. And I recorded Hyperspace and Audi like in the same kind of position, like just at the desk, but there was nothing in the studio. If you've seen in our studio or if you ever come to our studio, you gotta slide, bro.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
when you see it, you're gonna be like, man, this is decked out. Y'all got the booth over here, y'all got all these couches and da 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 da. That shit did not look like that when I recorded Audi. So I was making a song that was fun. Let's get pro. Like I had that come to me, and the rest of the song played itself out. And then the second half, so like Josh K's part, right? I was doing a vocal sample pack with my homie Ethan for this company called Producer Grind.
Heard of that.
And so they kind of strayed away from doing those packs. So by the time I had finished it, Ethan was like, yeah, man, like, they're going in a different direction. So I just got like a folder of maybe like 10 to 15 hooks and vocal phrases that I did. And one of those was the foundation for the second half that I wrote for Josh K. So that let me love you like you need it. That was me trying to do like vocal hooks to send out to people to sell type shit. And I ended up putting that at the end of the song. I was like, damn, Josh would sound really good doing this. Like I had the demo in my voice. lo and behold, I was right. Pulled up on Josh at Spaceship. We recorded it together, arranged the vocals together, and you know, a little 2-part song.
Right,
I like the 2-parters.
Yeah. I love the 2-part song. Let's see. Okay, let's dip away from that for a second.
Okay.
What was the inspiration behind creating side A and side B of Intergalactic?
That's a good question. Cause they're two different genres almost.
Exactly.
Like A was I always from the jump from Galaxy Friends, like I said, like it's about embracing all that I do. So that being my first project, it was like a sampler. Like, hey, you know, side A is like I rap. This is fun. This is cool. And then side B is like, y'all didn't know I sing though, because that's how Galaxy Francis first started. The first project that I ever did as Galaxy Francis is not out. But it's something that I made in the pandemic, and I made it like different from my other persona because it was so different. It was me singing. It's like me singing like Groove Theory over J Dilla ass beats, you know, and it was something I had never done before. So fast forward to what I'm talking about now, I knew I always wanted to incorporate the R&B and like make a space for that for real. So side B was the R&B.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sour Faces on Intergalactic.
Mm-hmm.
Side A. What was the inspiration behind that?
So you know how like in the movies when it's like based on a true story, you know, or like in the beginning of BMF.
Right,
like they're based on a true story, but some parts may be embellished.
Right.
Or, you know, something is for the plot. You know, they might add a little something like maybe Meech actually didn't get shot in the ear in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of how I am when I write my raps. It's like it's definitely inspired by true stories. So everything I said in that song was just me kind of running off of an afternoon that I had. Pretty much. And I was in a space where I just felt really good about myself. The first 8 bars was on a different track. I'm not gonna lie to you. I bought her a blouse and went it out. She went out and on the couch and all of that. Like all of that was on this other song. I don't even remember what that song was called, but it just fit over this new track, and then I ended up adding to it. And Drum of the Friends is my tower and slaves my stand is hello. And like everything from there on was just kind of what came out after that. I think I wrote that while I was driving or some shit. Yeah, I definitely need to be looking at my lyrics when I be talking about this. I could go bar for bar about like what bar was inspired by what, or like what wordplay is what too. So
yeah, I got you. Okay. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I do like side B over side A.
That's me too. Me too.
Cause yeah, like I could not turn off side B, for a long time.
Yeah.
Cause yes, I love Metal Gear Francis, but side B is where you're like comfortable at.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
You're literally comfortable there, like parking there.
Alright, for sure.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Talk about Friendly Skies because I think her name is Ronika.
Yeah, crazy.
Went crazy.
Crazy. Ronika's crazy. So we ended up linking up at the studio at our old location. We just have a lot of common interests and sounds, like the 90s R&B sound. We both love Aaliyah and Timbaland and like SWV, Mariah Carey. So we just had a natural bond. And that was our first song that we worked on together, actually. And I produced her song Feeling You. That's out. That song's a banger. I think that was one of the second songs we worked on. So Friendly Skies came together. I wrote my parts. I have another song on there called TSA Part 1. And TSA Part 2 or Friendly Skies is just a continuation of that song. So TSA Part 1 is about long distance love. And, you know, like I'm finna hop on this flight. You know, I always have to go through TSA. That's literally all it's about. TSA Part 2 just expands on that. All right, once you get through TSA, what happens? You're on a plane. And there's a lot of plane imagery in Friendly Skies. It was also inspired by Genuine and Missy Elliott's Friendly Skies. So you hear kind of like the synthesizers and almost like similar feelings with that song. And me and my homie Ethan Dietz co-produced it. And yeah, Renika's a really good songwriter. So once I gave her the first verse that I had that you hear on there, she instantly just like wrote to it, and I was like, "No, you're gonna go first. Actually, I'm gonna put you before that." So
Right. Yeah. If she doesn't go first, it really doesn't work.
yeah,
Like
it's a different situation.
You're not that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Talk about that.
that song. Look, man. Like I said, I be acting funny sometimes. I just be silly, and so my homie Marty, Chan Thousand, we worked on a project together, and it's called Chemical X. It's gonna come out. It's definitely gonna come out. It's a fire project. But during that time, we were making a lot of music together. We both loved Jodeci, and I can't remember what happened, but you know that meme of the guy in Walmart and whatever, and he's like, "You're not that guy, pal.
Right.
Trust me, you're not that guy."
Right.
He shows me that video, and he's like, "I dare you to make a song titled 'You're Not That Guy,' like based around this meme." And I'm like, challenge accepted. And I was like, all right, how can I make "You're Not That Guy" like a flip? How can I flip this? So I thought about what it would be like to be a confidant of a woman that's unhappy in her relationship. She needs someone who cares. Like, this is Dirty Mackin' at its finest.
For
This
sure.
is 90s Dirty Mackin' at its finest. And this is me if I was writing the song to that guy. You know, like, Shorty says she need da-da-da-da-da. How do I know? Because she tells me all the time that you're not that guy. And I love writing like that, where the first verse takes you somewhere, and then the second verse kind of continues on that, and then I love like a good climax moment. So to describe, she needs someone who cares, it sounds like I'm, describing a lady that I might be interested with, but then I drop it with, she tells me all the time that you're not that guy. It gives implication to like, fucking my show, you got my ball? You got my ball. That's my ball.
Right.
But it wasn't an actual situation, to where I was like speaking to someone in real life. It was just based on that meme, and I was like, man, how can I sound like Jodeci and make a funny, ironic song?
Okay, so we're gonna get back to Medical Gear, Francis. But first, before that,
Okay.
I want to ask you, what's your top 3 albums of all time? Not yours. I'm talking about in totality.
Oh!
Yeah, I asked everybody this, so I know it's a tough question.
This is such a tough question, but you know what? I'm just gonna rattle off the first 3 that come to my mind. Okay, Illmatic, Voodoo by D'Angelo, and this is really hard. I'm gonna cop out and say Kendrick's first 3 albums as an entire collection. Those are my top 3 albums.
Okay. You cheat coded me. All right.
Yes, so Good Kid, Mad City. I couldn't pick between Good Kid, Twin Butterfly, and Damn.
Okay.
I can't pick between those 3.
Okay. Kuwait. You gotta talk about how first basically how did you make that first, and then how did this remix come about?
Yeah. I talked about how I made it earlier, like, the beat with my friend Nate, and we made that together. But the lyrics were inspired by a time that I went to an Erykah Badu concert. It was like June or July of 2023, like first week of July, damn near. And it's literally what I'm saying in the song. 7:45, I'm on the way. She in the mirror, Fenty her face, Nike my laces. Like I'm just, I had on these white and fucking yellow low top Jordan 1s. She's putting on makeup, and we're about to leave to go to the concert. We already late. Yasin Bey open. I done missed Yasin Bey. Before you leave, you sometimes pull your partner close and just give like a peck. That peck became something a little more. Started off as just a little kiss. I guess it could wait. You got something I just can't resist. I guess it could wait. Like, everything I'm talking about is details of what happened, in those 30 minutes or so before we ended up leaving to the concert.
Right.
And then what was the other question you asked
The
after
remix.
that? The remix. How did the remix come about? So I feel like the content is there for me to make an R&B remix, like
Right.
what I just described to you. Like that's prime R&B content right there.
Right.
So I got booked for the show at Cashmere,
Mm-hmm.
and anytime that I know I'm gonna be in front of a new audience, especially with the music that I have out, I try to introduce it in a new way. Before the Cashmere show, I did a gallery around Christmas at Studio Shapes, where it's just kind of like a tiny desk vibe, and that's where I started the idea of that. I didn't perform the version that you heard then because I didn't. It was in a different key, and I wasn't really cool with how it was sounding. So I ended up doing it live with Lonzo, who was the head of Mansa, who performed last night, and we ended up doing a live version of it where it was like him on keys and Renzel had a little drum pad, and it was like super slow, like fire version. I'm like, damn, this is fire.
Right.
And I saw how everybody reacted to it, and I was like, is that out? That's Kuwait? No, that's not
The
Kuwait.
Kuwait, exactly.
That's not Kuwait, bro.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you performed it.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Yeah. So I did the Genuine sample because his song is So Anxious. So
Right.
that's how the remix came about. It's like that song is about, like being anxious, about trying to do something right away. It has the same energy as So Anxious. So for me to do that, when I do shows where I know I'm going to be in front of a new crowd, I always try to have some type of relatability because y'all not everybody's going to know my songs in the crowd. And I know that. I'm okay with that. That's what I'm here for you to want to know my songs.
Exactly.
But I love to have a moment that everybody joins in on the action and at least looks at the stage. Even if they don't sing along, they might sway their head a little bit because they know what So Anxious is.
Exactly.
At an R&B show, man, this is me branding myself as an R&B singer. This is me putting myself in that same light with music that I have already out.
Yeah.
So I just doubled down on it and did all the background vocals for the Cashmere show. Added all that stuff in there because I knew I wanted to do a mashup of those two songs.
Right.
And now you asking me, you're not the only person that's like, can I get that song? Can that song come out? So
yeah, bro.
I like to be able to test stuff like that and let people tell me what they want to hear.
Right, for sure. Because I'm gonna tell you now that what you're doing, everybody else is doing now because they got it from fucking TikTok. Not gonna lie to you, because the first time I heard a flip that's similar to that is when Don Toliver had a flip to one of his older songs. I can't remember exactly what song it is, but it was a flip with a Aaliyah record. I can't remember.
I know you know I can't it's love.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, bro. I got that on my phone somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
But yes, bro. I went to that Don Toliver show when he performed it. I was like, "Fuck yes." That's live.
Fire.
That live is amazing. So when I first saw that is when later I saw when they did a flip on the internet first of Denzel Curry flip Diet with TV off.
Oh yeah.
I went to the Denzel Curry show. He did it live,
that's
bro.
Fire. I love that they're doing that.
Yes, bro.
I love they're doing mashups.
Yes, at least it's somebody in their team that's making sure they know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
You feel me? So that's the amazing thing about, you feel me, in the internet now.
No, for real. I'm not going to lie. Like, I got that thought process and that philosophy from Amy Winehouse because some of my favorite songs, like Love is a Losing Game, I love the demo of her just playing guitar. And I don't even know if it's available. It might be on YouTube now.
Right.
But around that time, like I needed all of those versions. I love all of her original versions. And then you hear the recorded version that came out on Back to Black. And I'm like, this is totally different. Like I love the feeling of the other one. I love both of them. Don't get me wrong. But I watched her documentary and she talked about how jazz musicians like have different renditions of their songs, every time that they play it. And how it's such a jazz spirit to do something like that. And I resonated with that when she said that because I'm a huge Miles fan. Coltrane, Wes Montgomery, Joe Pass, you know what I'm saying? So like, I love all of that music and just imagine like every time you go to a show, I love to see somebody live but I'm not a huge concert goer. What would make me go to a show is if they're doing something I'm only going to see at the show.
Right.
Whether that's theatrics, whether that's how the stage looks, whether that's song composition. Right now, I'm at a space where I can't exactly get the whole stage set up to look like space just yet.
Right.
But what I can do is give you an experience of how I engage with the crowd and give you different versions of what you already have heard.
For sure. For sure. Chemical Reaction.
Yeah.
Talk about that one.
That song has like 3 different versions. The first version was a song that I actually made in this room that we're in right now. My homie Ethan Dietz. Let me see if I can find a beat. And my homie Ethan Dietz sent me a beat, and everything that you hear now is the same lyrics, same hook, but I went back and remade that track. I got really into this artist named Lancey Foe from London, and I love his production. And he had this album. He was like a chameleon on the front. I can't remember the name of it, but the front's beautiful. The intro to that album inspired Chemical Reaction. Okay. It's a song called Ecstasy. And if you listen to Ecstasy, you're going to be like, oh, I get it. I get it. And the riff that I did, I'm still trying to find the song, but the riff that I did, love is just a chemical reaction, kind of came to me just randomly. And then like a month later, I played it for my homie Tree Nobi. And he was like, bro, that's a hit. Also, what song is that from? And I'm like, now that you say that, that do sound like a familiar ass melody. And I think the name of the original song is Dirty Little Secret. So I probably just snitched on myself for the copyright samples, but I don't care. It's my song. Like, I changed up a lot, and I feel like
that's exactly what I thought of when I heard it, and I'm not mad that you did that.
Yeah, I didn't. But the thing is like I wasn't aware of that song.
Right.
Until I probably was. Like, I probably heard it when I was a kid, when it was out.
Right.
And that melody came to me, and then a couple months later, I'm like, damn, that is that song. And I just, again, using prompts, using phrases. So love is a chemical reaction is like a meme that I saw. It's scientific. Love is a release of chemicals in you that cause you to feel that way, that alter your decision making, heighten your emotions. And so I just thought about that, and thought of it like a rapper. Okay, not only a rapper, but kind of like Frank Ocean. So you think about the song Novocaine, which I reference in the song Chemical Reaction. But he's talking about, how he met this girl, at Coachella. And so I'm kind of writing in that same kind of setting the stage. Pretty basic, and she into fashion science major, so we both be in the lab with it. So I'm just relating stuff to chemical. There's this woman that is in graduate school that's into science. She's a chemist, and she tries to explain away her emotions. She's a heady person and say love is just a scientific passion. Don't throw my feelings away, give you my heart, and don't give it away. The first verse is from her perspective, or from my perspective, meeting this person, and she's giving me this information about her perspective of love, trying to explain it away to me, and to tell me love is just a chemical reaction. Second verse is like, all right, cool. Now we beefing. What's up with this? Right. You had me feeling away. I gave you my heart. You kind of giving it away. Love, my feelings aren't facts, is what I'm saying. Like, love is more than a scientific fact. And it's just me, expressing and emoting through my emotions of what I think about love, and that phrase of love is a chemical reaction. Like, yeah, that's true. And you have the round out of the song where I just changed 2 or 3 words. Ask my bros, they say love is just a chemical reaction. Satisfaction, you'll get satisfaction. One day you'll look back at this and laugh, huh? It's okay to be mad, huh? No, it's just a passion. So from the beginning of the song where I got this girl who's hurting my feelings trying to explain my feelings or her feelings away, to the end to where I have my support system that says your feelings are okay. So yeah, that's kind of like, that's how I journey through my songs and try to give different perspectives in different sections of it.
Love Ambition.
Love Ambition. I was dating someone, this is about a little over a year ago, and that song was inspired by them. They knew as far as the content, like everything that I was saying. But the sample was inspired by Jason Weaver, Chicago legend. He got the song "Love Ambition," and that's what I sampled in the song. You know, I sent it to him before it came out and everything. He was like, "Man, like I'm grateful you bring that song back to life," type shit, and gave me his blessing on it.
Right.
And I got the idea from my mutual friend, my homie Randy, and he's like, "What you need to do is flip that." And I was like, "Actually, you're right, because I love this song. This is a Chicago classic." And I think he wanted me to do it a certain way, and he had been asking me to do this for like, I'm telling you, like 10 years. He'd been asking me to flip Love Ambition for like 10 years. I've known Jason since I was like 4,
Mm.
and so we've always had like some type of relationship. Just through these different people that we have. So I might see him if I'm with my uncle or our homie that we have in common. And this is the same person that taught me how to count bars. You know what I'm saying? So he's always been kind of like in my life. And I finally got to that idea and was like, you know what's hot right now is sexy drill. And I really fuck with sexy drill. But sexy drill is really just repackaged juke music in my eyes, like simpler juke music, more palatable juke music. So when I flipped the sample, that's all I was thinking about.
Right.
I was like, man, let me make some Chicago ass shit that some New York people can fuck with, some people from London can fuck with, and also that women can fuck with. Because it's like I'm talking about love.
For real, should not have been the interlude. Is it a reason why?
I hear that. That was one of them sample pack hooks that I did.
Oh.
And I was like, man, this is good as is. I don't know if I want to make this a song. And it's a nod to Not For Real. Like it's the polar opposite of
Right.
Not For Real.
I got it. I got it why you put that there, but yeah, like in my mind, I was like, nah.
Yeah, these are so. There is a reason why that I was okay with leaving it at that, because I'm just like teasing my R&B.
Okay.
So just like you said, you like, man, I need that to be a full song. I need Kuwait remix. So like I'm teasing all this stuff to prepare your ear for the R&B project that I'm gonna drop.
For sure, I get it. Okay. Now I can step away from this. I feel like a little bit more. We can get into you and.
You asking the right question. You see this? You see this? These are questions y'all need to be asking. These are the questions. Talking to y'all.
So, what was your? No, how did Shape Studio Shapes?
Man.
How did that come about? Like, how did that get created?
So, Shapes is Renzel's baby. My homie Renzel. That's the brother. We have been locked in for a long time. I've known him since I was in college. So, like, 2011, I used to go to UIC. I stayed on Halsted. My homie Via Rosa, I got cool with her maybe like end of my freshman year of college going into sophomore year. Me and her got really cool. And she would take me over to this group called Them People's House. It wasn't too far from where I was staying. If you know, you know. The joint on 18th Street. The people that watch this, they know, they know. We would go over to the 18th Street place, and that's where I met Renzel for the first time. So, you know, we knew each other's face. That was the first time I met Vic Mensa, too, was at that crib. The Mine, Sean Doe, Michael Anthony, Mick Jenkins. Like, this is the same place that 10 Day was made. Joey Pert, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was a legendary place to be. And I would come over there whenever Via was there. You know, maybe she'd invite me over. They was doing something, taking shrooms or something, eating pizza. I was like, come over, let's get high. I'm like, all right, bet. We going. She'd take me back to my grandma's crib, fried. Cooked. And so, you know, that just goes to show how far back him and I know each other. So fast forward through Via Rosa, I also meet these two people called Ambi Lyrics and No Saddam. No Saddam this nigga does everything, but right now he's on tour with Smino. He's Smino's DJ. He's a singer. What song is he on? I Deserve. He's on I Deserve. It's my dog. So, you know, I met him around the same time. Him and I become roommates in like 2016, 2017. And one day, after we're not roommates anymore, he still lives down the street from me, so we kicking it all the time. He was like, hey man, you want to go hang out with they're doing this little group therapy thing. Renzel is hosting group therapy at his crib. I'm like, all right, yeah, hell yeah, I could use some of that right now. So we end up going together to Renzel's crib. At this time, he's staying in like Little Village or something like that. You know, he makes us food. It's maybe like a group of 5, 7 of us. You know, me, Nos, Renzel, the Mine, couple of other people. I think one of our homies, Mike, was there. And we do this for a couple of weeks. He was doing it, you know, he hosted like 4 or 5 of these over the span of 2 or 3 months. And I came to 2 or 3 of them, and that's when him and I got a little more connected. I would, you know, obviously you sharing stuff in a space like that, but then there would be times where I come over and be like, yo, let's build. One of the times I did that, we ended up recording a song that ended up being leaked that has Via and Isaiah Rashad on it, and that got leaked a couple of years ago. But that night we made that song, and that same night we talked about what we're doing right now. We talked about shapes. So this is like 2017, 2018. He used to do these things called shape sets where, you know, he would activate different places. I can't remember what, it's some type of marketing agency downtown, but he did one of the first shape sets there. You know, he will make a beat live. There would be this whole curation, food, drinks, weed infused shit in one corner. So he's always had a knack for making experiences and making these super fire spaces and events for people to just host community. And him and I was sitting talking like, yeah, man, we wanna go to do these Airbnbs, man, and we should host like these open sessions that we have. You know, we had Monty pull up, we had Smeeden pull up, we had goddamn Chance pull up, and you know, we just dreaming together. We just talking about all this shit like that we want to do. We never did none of that. We never did the Airbnb. Like 3 years passed, COVID came along, shit got pushed back. 2021 comes, I get a call from Renzel, and he's like, "It's time," and I knew exactly what he was talking about. He was like, "Hey, you know, I'm working at the spaceship with Josh's studio, and you know, we need some more engineers. You know, I told you once it's time, I'm gonna come holler at you." So we were working out of the spaceship for maybe like a year together. That's kind of how we started to build some clientele and move from a private recording space. So he was doing his own thing in his own space, and I was doing my shit in my space, recording people at the crib, recording people here, and from spaceship, Renzel moves on to getting shapes in Albany Park, getting the first spot. Again, I got another phone call. It's time. And, you know, early on, I went up to the studio. He'd be building it out. We'd be putting panels together. And it is what it is today. Wind Down Wednesday, the Instagram page, the Oxtails, the open sessions. Like, this is all stuff we thought about when there was fucking sawdust on the floor. And we was just sitting there smoking, talking about, we not supposed to be smoking in here, but it's cool because they not upstairs. Damn. Is this shit hitting or is it too much sawdust in here? You know what I'm saying? But we talking about, yeah, man, we need to do wine events. We need to have a space where people can come and like not be so pressed about being musicians. We could just come and chill, and we need to host oxtails because, man, I miss when there was open mics and you go meet people and try new shit out. And we want to do these open sessions because it's never fun working alone.
For sure.
So everything that we doing is just a product of ambition, vision, and consistency, and not giving up. And Renzel has definitely, man, been more than a glue and a leader, just to have all the vision of everything that we doing for real.
Yeah. Dope. That's dope. Okay, we can go back. We can go back now. Hyperspace.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about that.
A lot of shit on Metal Gear would be like, man, I get my feelings hurt, and then I go record a song about it, or I like hurt my own feelings. You know, if I put myself through some shit or put myself in a situation, then I go record a song about it. So Hyperspace was like the 2-part of that of me just like transitioning through certain relationships, and you know, I was just leaving a relationship, so that's why it's maybe we can try again some other time. And, you know, typical, like, right place, right time. You know, I'm just talking about, like, man, but I'm cool with the decisions I made because I stood on how I felt, and I also just tried to do the right things with the situation. And then the second part is just like, all right, well, let's stop being sad about it. Speed up this shit, don't take it in a hyperspace. And I just am like feeling myself a little bit more. And on the other side of that coin of like, man, I had this experience. I'm actually like a really cool person. And I shouldn't let the first half of the song like dictate my emotions. Which that song alone exists how I just explained it to you. But that song in context of the album order, when you go from B down to Chemical Reaction, because it sounds like you listen to the deluxe, and that's at the opposite order of the story.
That's crazy.
And
yeah.
so when you go down from like B to Chemical Reaction, hyperspace is Chemical Reaction not for real? Hyperspace. So hyperspace serves as a bridge between burnout, which is burning candles, I believe. Let me not tweak. I make so much music, I be forgetting what I be doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, let me not tweak. We're gonna pull it up right here. This is deluxe, but I know how I go. So yeah, I was right. Yeah. So hyperspace serves as the bridge between like the burnout that I talk about in Burning Candles and just moving to a space of Kuwait and just like being more confident. Because if you look at the story from B to Chemical Reaction, it's like a story of somebody that's confident that is kind of like moved by his heartbreak to be a little more ashamed, a little more doubtful. But if you listen to it the way that you listen to it, it's the opposite way. It's like I got my feelings hurt and then I turned up.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at either way.
Either
no.
way. Either way. Inspired. That was definitely inspired by the damn release. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Let's talk about B.
True.
How did that come about?
This was another one of those moments where I had a feeling and I went straight home and emoted it. What's crazy, you hear that beat. You remember Ronnie that we was working with at that time? That was like one of the first beats me and Ronnie Rage. He's like a super dope artist, producer. He a dad now, so he'd be out the way. But that was one of the first tracks that him and I worked on, I think like before you had got here. Like in one of those sessions. So we had like these synths together. We had like some of those bass notes. Like he put together a lot of those synths and I just arranged it. And so I had that beat and I was like driving home at like 4 a.m. and I get in my crib and I just lay in the bed with the mic, like face up towards the ceiling, playing that loop of the music that you hear, and I just start saying whatever's on my mind. I start saying what's on my heart. And that night I was just like, man, I'm ready to like move on from everything that I had been dealing with, stuff that I had been stressed out. So it's like, man, I'm ready to be who I'm supposed to be. This is like the momentum of me seeing what Intergalactic did for the people around me, like how people responded to it, what I can be as an artist. And as you grow as an artist, you have these moments of like doubt, of almost like self-sabotage, of like feeling like you don't deserve certain things. So B was me talking me through like, nah, I deserve it. Like I'm ready to move on and I have to claim that in order for my life to be different. And I wanted other people to hear that and sing along. And if they're singing along to that, like they're saying that to themselves. They're not saying that for me. They're saying that for themselves.
For sure.
So it's just a song full of affirmations, full of gratitude. And another song inspired by Lancey Foe. I think that was like his outro. His outro inspired that song.
Okay. Classic.
Yeah.
We talk about that because I don't even know where Sir Michael Rocks is. Honestly.
Real.
Because I know I used to listen to him a lot when he first was popping.
Yeah. Inspired a lot of, I talked about it earlier, like 2080s, the group that I was in, man, we was straight, products of the Cool Kids, Sir Michael Rocks and Chuck English. So for me to reach out to him, he was super flexible. I think I just found the email and was like, hey man, got the song, been a fan for a long time. I think it's something you can fuck with. Like, yeah man, I appreciate that. Like thanks for reaching out for the verse type shit. We ended up making that happen, but his verse, there wasn't a space for his verse. Like when I first made the song, we made that song in an open session at Studio Shapes at the old location. It was on a day that Classic Studios had one of them slide to the stew events, and I met Sir Deep at that event, who's on the intro. I met him at that event. He was playing some shit, and I'm like, and nobody's reacting. I'm like, do y'all hear this nigga's voice? He's crazy. And so I pull him to the side. I'm like, yeah, man, what you doing? Da 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 da. I'm finna have an open session in a couple of hours. You should pop through. And so he pulls through. Nate was there. My friend Nate, Ethan Dietz, I think, was at this session too. It was a fire session, and we ended up putting that beat together. Sir Deep's part was a verse, so that outro and that intro were actually together. And so somebody had just made the beat. I got behind the boards and started putting everything together. And I was like, all right, whoever got an idea, just go in the booth. Sir Deep had an idea. He's doing his idea. I'm recording him. I'm writing the verse while I'm recording him. I'm like, I think I might have something. And I don't think anybody else got on the song that day. So we just made that song, the arrangement. You know, my verse was actually longer. I had like 4 more bars, but I wasn't really feeling them, so I took them out. I'd be okay with that. Right. And then getting Sir Michael Rocks was like, man, this is again thinking about the album. Like, what would make this meaningful to me? So I sent it to him. Sent the open. Made it happen.
Okay, I don't have no more questions about this project.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't.
Man,
honestly, yeah, I know you can. That's why. Okay, I do want to ask a question that I normally ask everybody. Mm-hmm. If you could headline your own tour, mm-hmm. Who are the 3 artists you bring with you? It can be anybody.
Yeah, all shapers. Oh. I'm bringing all shapers. That's the first people I think about, because, man, Mansa would be crazy. Mansa's insane as a band. Everybody you saw last night, I'm not going to lie. Like, Moyana, Michael, my homie Daylight Tone, Kenny Barreau, Harry. That would be my first pool of people I would have to choose from. Is those people. Hell yeah. And definitely the rest of the squad gonna be there running sound or something if they not if they not there. Run my auto tune.
Producers you want to work with in the future?
If Timbaland don't AI my shit, I would love to work with Timbaland. Timbaland's my favorite producer, man. So like that, you know,
he's in my top 3.
It's I reserve any like strong opinions about what he's doing for real, just like out of respect for him. But I do feel a way. It's like that shit ain't. I don't know if it's it. And if I had this conversation with him, I'd say that to him. But Timbaland would definitely be somebody I want to work with. Benny X. Shit. D'Angelo. D'Angelo's a hell of a producer. Questlove. Q-Tip. Q-Tip would be crazy to work with. Mike Dean. Mike Dean for sure is one of my favorites. Illmind's fire. Illmind does a lot of. I'm not Illmind. Illmind is fire, but I'm thinking of Illangelo, I think, who does the Weeknd's. Okay. The Weeknd's production, or did a lot of his early production. And Metro for sure. I need to join with Future. Metro. We gotta make that happen. Yeah. And Cardo for sure.
Yeah,
I need Cardo.
Cardo's a beast.
I need Cardo. And Jahan Sweet. If you know, you know. Jahan Sweet is different. And Cam Obi. I can keep going, bro. I can keep going. There's so many great producers out here.
Yeah, I honestly don't have nothing else. I don't know if you want to do shout outs, you can.
Brian Michael Cox. Add him to the list.
Okay.
Jermaine Dupri. Come on. Any shout outs, man? Shout out to the Shapes family. Shout out to my family. Shout out to my circle. Shout out to my support system. Shout out to everybody, all the creatives trying to do something. I aim to be inspiration for real. So when y'all come and give me feedback to say that like my words, my music means something, it changed the way you think about music, or it inspired you to do something different in your music, that really means a lot to me. So just keep going. You know, I'm definitely got some new shit on the way. I got 4 albums in the tuck. We're gonna figure out how we're gonna put it out, but it is a continuation on the Metal Gear lore for sure, and it's gonna be a fun time.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro. Shout out to Cohort Podcast.
Yeah.
Come on, we're gonna shout out that. Shout out. Let's start there. Oh, I'm kicking shit.
You good?
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Best interview I've done so far.
For sure.
It's up there. It's top 3. It's top 3. I
Right.
ain't gonna shit on anybody else. I don't want to say against nobody else. If people be sensitive. People be like, why you say that? All right, we don't.